Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the SmackDown report for the 8th of January, 2021. And same old show, new year, same garbage. It really is. Again, I find WWE laughable, and I honestly believe that most people with any sense of entertainment could write this in an altered state better than they are doing currently. Universal Champion Roman Reigns, Jey Uso, and Paul Heyman make their way to the ring. They start SmackDown, and that's a great way to start a new year. Is the same old tired trope interviews. They discuss the gauntlet match later tonight to determine the number one contender. Reigns praises Owens and claims he never wants to hurt him. He blamed Owens for making him attack him last week. Reigns says he loves the roster and their families, and he's furious that people are blaming him for injuring Owens. Reigns basically says that people should blame Adam Pearce. Reigns demands Pearce comes out. Pearce makes his way out. And basically we see a recap of what's been happening over the last few weeks with Roman Reigns. Reigns wants Pearce to take responsibility for what's been done here. Owens goes to Pearce to get the match. Uso stands behind Pearce and glares at him. Reigns claims that Pearce is responsible because Pearce is the one that signed the match, and he's furious that Pearce made the gauntlet match for a shot at the title. And Reigns brings up everything he does for the company. Reigns wondered if Pearce is going to put himself in the match. Pearce said he would. That would be a conflict of interest. Reigns is upset with this. Asks if Pearce thinks he's stupid. And then Reigns is ready to hurt Pearce. Heyman advises against it. Reigns calms down and he says that nobody should call each other stupid. And he taps Pearce on the shoulder and walks away. This is completely stupid. If Roman Reigns is the leader and the tribal chief and all this stuff, why should he care about other people's families? Why should he care about what's going on? Why should he care that Adam Pearce signed the match? Again, I get the part of him caring about, being put into a gauntlet where he has no idea who he's going to face. But as far as the whole I care about people, yes, it makes him a better heel, I guess. But it's filling time just for the sake of filling time, and it's completely useless. Cruz and Big E are up next for the Intercontinental Championship. Actually, I believe it's a non-title match. So basically, Cruz hits a dropkick early and a running boot. They do an angle where he almost gets a near fall off that. Big E fights back, splash on the apron, and then he follows up with some rolling German suplexes. Big E goes out to the floor. Cruz catches him with a moonsault off the apron, and Big E sets him up for a superplex, getting back in the ring. Cruz does hit the superplex. I remember the superplex was a finish. And both guys get their feet up off the superplex and count to three. Confusion in the ring. Cruz celebrates as if he wins. Big E protested to the referee. They cut to commercial. Back from commercial, they show different angles of the pin. Referee standing in the ring with the belt declares the match a draw. So I guess the belt was on the line. The announcers did a poor job of getting this across. Belt goes to champion because of the draw. Big E's, willing to shake hands. Cruz slaps him in the face. Big E restarts the match. Big E goes nuts, hits a series of belly-to-belly suplexes. Cruz comes back, hits a frog splash and a near fall. Standing moonsault for another near fall. Big E goes for the big ending. Cruz slips out, and Cruz charges Big E. Big E catches him with a Uranagi and follows up with a big ending for the win. Match was fine. The start and restart of the match was goofy. And it's not necessary. You could have told the same story without that, the handshake and the slap and all of that in a different way. It's just, again, another segment set to fill time, but it doesn't advance anything. Does it make me want to see Big E next week? No. Does it make me care about Apollo Crews? No. Does it make me wonder why I watch this program? Because nothing ever advances beyond week to week um, alignment. In other words, what happens this week doesn't matter what happens next week with at least 50 to 70% of the programming? Yes. Anyway, in the back, Pierce is on the phone. Sonya Deville enters the room. He's happy that Deville is back. Uh, she said she's not bitter, and and this includes her friend forming a new tag team. Deville points out Pierce is busy running SmackDown. Pierce notes that he's not in the match later. Deville wondered why he's not in the match. She said he hadn't competed in years. Elise Ashton, I guess she's one of the new girls, is in the back. She tries to interview Bianca Belair about entering the Rumble. Bayley interrupts, and Bianca eliminated Bayley last year, and Bayley wasn't in the match. Bayley bragged about being champion last year. Bianca Belair promises to eliminate her this year. They recap Ziggler and Rude jumping the Street Profits last week. And then they show Sports Illustrated ranking Sasha Banks the top wrestler of 2020. Really? I mean, I'm not against a woman winning it, but there was no woman really dominant. If you're going to do that, at least say Bayley, although Bayley's not a babyface, so we can't put over the heel, even though Bayley was a bigger part of why Sasha and Bayley got over, I think, than Sasha was. Nothing against Sasha, but if we look pound for pound, her holding the championship for most of the year should have counted for something, if not more than a year. Carmella is enjoying champagne. She praises Banks. Then she claims Banks doesn't have her level of talent. Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode defeat the Street Profits to win the tag team championships. This was fine. They told a reasonable story. Colin Graves wondered if Ford's injured because Dawkins starts the match. Why do we jump to that conclusion? There's a drop kick early with the champions, and Dawkins uses his own partner as a weapon. Ziggler goes after an injured leg. Heels isolate Ford and cut him off from his partner. Ford fights back, sends the heels out to the arena floor, followed up with a dive to the floor, which is pointless because there's no people in the crowd. And then they go to commercial. Back from break, Dawkins goes nuts on Rude and hits a twisting splash. Ford's walking around ringside selling that his knee's injured. Why would you take the match if your knee was injured going in? Dawkins considers tagging Ford, decides not to, and the heels regain control of the match. They isolate Dawkins on their side of the ring. Ziggler slows down the pace and uses a face lock. Rude then hits a neckbreaker for the 2 count. Rude throws Ziggler into Dawkins, so I guess using your opponent as a weapon is a big thing these days. Anyway, Dawkins and Rude went to the floor and attempted to tag out to Ford. Rude pulls Ford off the apron, but he fights back. Ford gets the hot tag, manages to run wild, hits a discus lariat on Ziggler for a near fall. Ford climbs the top rope, hits a frog splash. Rude tries to stop him. Ford knocks down Rude. Ziggler, basically attacks Ford again, goes for the super kick. Ford super kicks him first, goes for a near fall. Ford uses a sunset flip on Ziggler for the near fall. Adam Pearce and after that, Ziggler attacks the injured leg again, regains control, uses a perfect plex for the near fall, which was cool. Rude attempts the glorious DDT, but Ford fights back. Heels take over again. Rude and Ziggler hit a spine buster into a zigzag and win the titles. I actually like the fact they won the titles. Hopefully they go somewhere with it. But I don't think they have enough reputable tag teams that no matter who the tag team champions are on either brand. In all honesty, I don't think it matters. In the back, Adam Pearce and DeVille are discussing title match. Heyman enters, praises Pearce. He brings up his past as a wrestler before coming to WWE. Um, he said his dream is to be a wrestler. Heyman pulls some string, and Pearce is now competing in the gauntlet match. Pearce is not happy about this. Billie Kay approaches Liv Morgan and Ruby Riott. She asks to join them. They turn her down. Kay is preparing to join. Has been preparing to join the Riot Squad already, and Kay is basically making Riot Squad jokes. It's clunky. Rey Mysterio with Dominic defeats Sami Zayn in the beginning of the gauntlet match. Zayn comes out with a documentary crew. He basically says he asked the production staff to document the match. Zayn is angry at being first in the gauntlet. He says this is a conspiracy. He says the crew will uncover a plot against him. Mysterio does hit Zayn with a dropkick right at the bell and hits a 619 with a splash for the win. He advances very quickly here. Gauntlet match, I guess part 2. Shinsuke Nakamura defeating Rey Mysterio. Nakamura has a decent match with Mysterio. Not a big surprise there. Corbin does make an attack post-match. Mysterio has an early advantage and hits a Rana. Nakamura blocks a sliding dropkick and hits a knee to the face. He misses a knee off the apron, though. Mysterio fights back, attempts a running sunset bomb into the ring, and Nakamura rolls through it and hits a sliding knee. Nakamura places Mysterio on the top turnbuckle, fights back, hits a seated senton. Finish comes when Mysterio hits a 619 and a splash. Nakamura gets the knees up. Nakamura locks on an armbar. Mysterio taps. King Corbin runs out and attacks Dominic at ringside. Poor Dominic. He was so hot, and they've killed him dead. He tosses Nakamura into the ring post and attacks Mysterio. We go to commercial. We come back. Nakamura defeats Corbin. Well, at least that's a decent thing. So they start during the commercial break. Corbin is in control when they come back. Hits a clothesline for near fall. He runs his shoulder into the post. Corbin takes him to the floor. Sends Nakamura into the post. Continues to beat him up. Hits a knee from the second turnbuckle and then Nakamura hits Kinshasa, or tries to, but Corbin hits the deep six for the near fall. Nakamura catches Corbin with a triangle. Corbin counters into a powerbomb near fall. Finish comes when Nakamura hits the Kinshasa on Corbin for the win. He advances in the gauntlet. Nakamura defeating Daniel Bryan. This is probably the best segment of the show. Bryan jumpstarts the match and sends Nakamura to the floor. He hits a dive to the outside. Again, everyone knows how I feel about dives. Nakamura fights back and hits a Kinshasa, but Bryan counters that into a half crab and then an ankle lock. Nakamura tries to get to his feet. Bryan hits a German suplex. For near fall, Bryan hits Nakamura with the yes lock. Nakamura avoids that, transfers to an armbar. Bryan avoids that, and I mean they do some really good counter wrestling here. Bryan transition into the yes lock, but Nakamura makes it to the ropes and breaks the hold. Bryan goes for a run off the top rope. Nakamura held on, but Bryan fell off, and Nakamura goes back into the armbar. Bryan counters a roll up for near fall, rocks Nakamura with a series of kicks and a counter, follows up with a couple of drop kicks in the corner. Bryan goes for a third drop kick, but Nakamura counters with a Kinshasa, and then post match, both guys shake hands. This is interesting. Uh, Roman Reigns, Heyman, and Uso walk out to the ring to watch the last part of the gauntlet, and um, kind of a bit of an angle. Pierce comes in, walks to the ring, heels are behind him. Graves praises Pierce's past wrestling career. Um, Uso and Reigns jump in the ring and beat down Nakamura. Reigns hits a Superman punch, and Uso hits a splash off the top. Nakamura's tag partner Cesaro is unmentioned in this, and his absence is unmentioned as well. Reigns throws Pierce into the ring. Uso knocks out Pierce with a super kick. Reigns orders the referee to ring the bell. They drag Pierce on top of Nakamura. Referee counts to 3. Pierce is the number 1 contender. So basically what you're saying is an angle to make the challenger for the Royal Rumble mean absolutely nothing, even though they'll change the angle next week, is supposed to make people want to tune into this show. Seriously, if I wasn't doing this channel, if I hadn't been a 32-year fan of the sport, I'd stop watching this horrid, wretched show. It's insulting to the intelligence of anyone who ever cared about professional wrestling. It insults the legacy of everyone who sacrificed time away from their families to be part of the sport. Like, it's getting worse. And the fact that WWE and the people that work there don't care is just, and I'm not saying the talent, I'm saying the writing staff. So what? Vince is a megalomaniac, narcissistic, wannabe person who thinks that he knows how to fix it. Obviously, he doesn't if 38 years later, this is what he's producing. And I know a lot of people say, oh, you're taking it too seriously. Dang right. This is people's careers. This is their livelihood. And to waste years of your life in such poorly written drivel that people addicted to opiates could probably nod out of a drug induced coma and write better stuff is just it's abysmal. It's sad. It's disheartening. It's depressing. And I wouldn't want to wish that on anybody. Anyway, that's the SmackDown review. Luckily, I have more of the Mid-South review, which is much better written to continue. Over 1,000 audios now. Continue to join us. Like, subscribe, comment below. Anyway, till next time, keep your feet on the ground, your mind in the moment.